Hi everyone, my name is Amelia Pease and I'm the data manager at MOVA. Today we're going to be talking about the goal and key outcome setting process for FY27. This will be completed during the contracting period. When you first log on to eGrants in your My Opportunities, you will see the goals and key outcomes for FY27 for each grant type. If you don't have this My Opportunities panel, you just want to click on your name in the top corner, edit dashboard, click add panel, and then you'll see My Opportunities in this dropdown. You can click save, refresh the page, and it will show up. Then to start filling out your goals and key outcomes, you're just going to click on the grant that's applicable to you and click agree. This will bring us to our goals and key outcomes landing page. The first part that we're going to set is the goals. First, we're going to start with setting our goals. You'll see that the format is a little bit different from previous years. We simplified the process a little bit for FY27. This year, the goals that you'll be setting reflect the direct services that you report on the OMT. I will show you what that looks like. On your OMT, you have these direct service categories that you can click, and you can see the direct services here. You'll be selecting from these direct services to set a milestone for the whole year. The ones that you select should best represent the activities of your program. So back on the goals, we're first going to select an overarching service area. And when we select that, the direct services that are available will pop up. Once you've selected a goal, you will be setting an annual milestone. The annual milestone will represent how many of that direct service you hope to accomplish over the course of the grant period. In this case, I can put in 50. So we're hoping to provide 50 instances of immigration assistance. To review a list of all of the goal options, you can click on MOVA's Data Reporting Terminology Dictionary. Starting on page 15, there will be a list of all of the direct services and the definitions. In FY27, we are requiring that you measure between 3 and 5 direct service goals. If you would like to add more than the 3, you can click Add New Section and add up to 5. Once you have filled out this page, click Save. And that's all that you need to do for your goals for FY27. When you start your first OMT of FY27, these goals will be automatically loaded in. Now we'll move on to the key outcomes. The key outcomes have also been updated a little bit since the past years. You'll be measuring your key outcomes in a percentage format, and your annual milestone will be in a percentage as well. If you would like assistance transferring your FY26 key outcomes into the format for FY27, please reach out to the data team and we'd be happy to help you. Our email is linked right here on the key outcomes page. To fill out the key outcomes, you'll first write your key outcome measure into the box. If you're using a survey, you could write the survey question directly in here. For example, if I have a question on my survey that says the services I received help improve my sense of safety and well-being. On my survey, I'm using an ordered scale to ask this question. So 1 equals very dissatisfied and 5 equals very satisfied. How I would want to turn this into a percentage is to come up with a favorable outcome, and then the percent of people we are hoping will give us that favorable outcome. So say on our survey, to us, a favorable outcome is a 4 or 5, satisfied or very satisfied. We will want to think, what percentage of people are we hoping will say 4 or 5? And that is what you're going to put in your annual milestone. So for this example, say that I'm hoping 80% of the people will say 4 or 5. Now you want to pick a direct service category. These direct service categories relate back to our goals. And we want to pick the direct service category that best represents what we are measuring here. In this instance, we are measuring emotional support and safety services. Next, you're going to want to select the data collection source, which is where this data is coming from. In most cases, if it's a survey, you're going to want to select client, participant, self-reported. It could also be a staff base, an organization level, or in rare cases, an other source. I'm going to select client for this option. Next, you'll select the timeline, and this is when you will report the data to MOVA. We are mostly expecting the timeline to be quarterly, unless you have a survey that is only conducted annually or biannually, in which case you can select one of those. If it's an ongoing survey, it should be quarterly. Next, the milestone note and the additional notes are optional fields, but the milestone note is where you can provide more context to your milestone. So in this case, we could say, we are hoping 80% of survey respondents select 4 satisfied or 5 very satisfied. That gives us context of what that 80% means. The additional notes field is there for you to provide any additional information you think MOVA may need, or provide information that your colleagues may need. So in case of an absence, you might want to write something about where this information is coming from. For example, I'll put in here, this is from the end of the care survey. That way, if I'm out and somebody else is filling out the OMT, they know where to find that information. If you don't survey, you can definitely still use key outcomes from your organization that are collected by staff or at the organization level. For example, we could put in something like, of the total clients referred to mental health treatment, 60% will accept and engage in services. So therefore, our annual milestone is going to be 60%. Our direct service category will be personal advocacy and accompaniment or emotional support safety services, depending on what types of services we're providing. In this case, our data collection source will be organization level. And our timeline will be quarterly. We don't need any notes here because it's pretty clear what we are measuring. In FY27, you are required to complete 2 to 3 key outcome measures. There are 2 automatically on the page for you. If you would like to add a third, you can click Add New Section, and you'll be able to add a third. Once you've completed your key outcome section, you want to make sure you save the page. If you miss any parts of the process and you save it, you'll get an error message. It also is telling us we have an error here. And if you go to Submit the Goals and Key Outcomes, it will tell you that you have an error on the Key Outcomes page. If you see this, you can click on Key Outcome or Goals, and it will bring you to the page where you need to make that fix. Once you have a check mark on both of your forms and it is error-free, you can go ahead and click Submit Goals and Key Outcomes. There is a field here for additional notes. You can put anything in there that you would like the data team to see when they're reviewing. Once you click OK, you'll be brought back to the landing page and you'll get this message that your goals and key outcomes have been submitted. If you receive a notification that your goals and key outcomes are in modifications required, you'll want to log back onto eGrants, locate the file, and the requested modifications will be on the landing page. This will be the first page that you're brought to when opening your goals and key outcomes. The requested modifications will be available on this landing page as well as the individual pages. In this example, I left them a note asking them to consider increasing their information and referral goal milestone based on their reporting from last year. If you click on the goals, it will bring you right to that page. When you're on the page, if you want to be reminded of what the modification was, you can find this green modification flag on the side. And if you click on that, it'll bring up the note again. Once you make the requested changes and save the page, you can go ahead and submit the modifications again. And it will be sent back to MOVA for review. For both CSPS and SAFE Plan, you will be following the same steps. As in FY26, the SAFE Plan goals and key outcomes are preset, and you will only be setting the annual milestones. Thank you for watching this demonstration, and please reach out to the data team with any questions you may have. Over the next few weeks, we will have office hours where you can sign up for a time to meet with us if you want to review any of your goals and key outcomes. Thank you for your timely submissions.